so grateful to be alive and be here in front of everybody. Have you in front of me. So boys and girls, if things are too small on the screen for you, you might want to move up. We do have a couple of empty seats over here. If not, you can stay right where you are. That's fine. We won't force you to do anything you don't want to do. When I originally planned this talk, I had to keep in mind a theme, and that theme is what are the do's and the don'ts of photo restoration. Now, these are all real basic things to people who've been doing this for a while. But for those of you who haven't, maybe you need a little review. So instead of just lecturing or throwing up a slide on the PowerPoint or something, I wanted to use real pictures from real people and go through some of those do's and don'ts as we go through the picture. A quick survey in the room I'd like to do. How many of you have something called Photoshop or Photoshop Elements at home on your computers? Okay. How many of you have some other program that you can use when you scan in your picture and to fix it up a little bit, get rid of dust and scratches or fix the color? Okay. So I got a couple. What programs are those?
They're from Creative Memories called Memory Manager.
Creative Memories Memory Manager. Okay. You, sir?
I have some freeware, but it's not the one that not the type of Photoshop that restore.
Okay.
Sketch. No, it's more like for in-care exposures and
okay. And anybody else has a name of another program you might be using? Okay, great. So pretty much those who are brave enough to get into this are using Photoshop or Photoshop Elements. And for those of you who are interested in doing it, but you don't want to spend the money, there's a free program on the internet called GIMP, G-I-M-P. And it works just like Photoshop. It's quite incredible, and it's got real nice support in a community support. Okay, so yes, sir, in the back.
Google GIMP.
GIMP, yeah. Do a search for GIMP, and you'll do like GIMP and photos, so you don't get something else that you don't want to be exposed to, or someone younger in your household. All right. Now, one of the most basic things before we start anything when it comes to the do's and the don'ts is how to handle your pictures. Okay, so that when you handle your pictures, you must do so with care. So you can get these gloves, you know, when you go to the PGSA conference this fall. Your Roots to Leaves might be there, or someone, do you know yet? Does anyone know if they're going to be there, or someone else like them? They'll have gloves for sale. Get yourself some nice cotton gloves so you can handle the picture and not get fingerprints on it. Now this is an inkjet print, and this belongs to there's Joe. And Joe, why don't you come on up here for a second? Take a seat in my office. And this one is yes, come around this way. Come around this way. And I want you to sit right here on that chair. Yeah, perfect. Now this is printed on paper because you wanted to make a enlargement of it or a copy.
No,
explain to us why you don't have the original and why you have this.
Well, the original I first came across with my father in '71 when we were visiting Poland, and it's been handled over the years, and several times I thought I lost it. Now, originally the print was much smaller than it is, as you see now, but I scanned it in my computer and stored it for future use. I still have the print somewhere in a safe deposit
storage
box.
So here you have a picture, the only picture that you have of your father. Okay, right. And because everyone's been handling it, it's kind of getting worn out and you're getting worried about it, okay? So when you handle it, when you get home, you got to make sure that you hold the edges, okay? And try not to put your thumb right on the image area or your fingers, okay? So let's do a quick scan. Since this is the only picture, this is a copy of the only picture, we want to improve it a little bit. And there were two things that you mentioned to me when you showed it to me about this particular image that you would like changed, especially on this copy.
Well, if you notice in the lower left-hand corner, there is some damage, what we call crinkleness or something.
Yeah, yeah.
That wasn't originally was on the print, but
there's a crease.
Yeah. You know, the years of handling it, it has been somewhat slightly damaged.
Okay, so I got my scanner on. I have the scanner interface on here. It's a couple things we want to keep in mind. Whenever you're scanning, the resolution should be at 300 pixels per inch or 300 dpi. Some of you that are familiar with me and familiar with this thing, you're like, yeah, I know that. But I see some people writing this down in their notepads. So there's always someone who needs to know. The scale or the magnification should always be at least 100%. Okay? Now this is actually your original was smaller than this, right? So
correct.
You did that. You enlarged it.
Well, I didn't, not intentionally. When I printed out a couple of days ago, I found on a computer disk, I printed it out and it came out at a large size.
Right. Well, you probably saved it. It was most likely saved at a low resolution, but the dimensions were quite huge.
No, I think I saved it at least 300.
Really? Okay. That's interesting. Well, we'd have to figure that one out. Okay, so let's do the file name here. I'm going to call this PGSA01. Hit OK on there. And the scanner software is going to read what's on the bed, and it's saving the file to disk. And when it does that, I can then edit it. I can work on the color, I can sharpen it, resize it in a photo editing program like Photoshop. Question, go ahead.
Yeah, I noticed that you left it at 24-bit color.
Yep.
And that was like originally black and white. So I've always been wondering whether it's better to scan it as a color or scan it as black and white.
Yeah, great question. So why did I have that scanner set at 24-bit color? Simply put, when you scan in color, your scanner will capture more detail. It will capture, technically, it will capture 3 channels worth of color. So just imagine if you had 3 channels, you have a red, a green, and a blue channel. This is how it's laid out. Each one of those colors captures detail in the highlights and the shadows a little differently from the other channel. Now, if you just scan it in as grayscale, as a black and white, you have 1 channel of color. And I'm going to show you what happened here. Why is this green? So let's get Photoshop going. And we will open up the picture from the desktop. I'm doing this from within Photoshop. And another thing, did you all notice what file format I saved it as? It's a TIFF. Okay? So you should never, here's a do save in TIFF, don't save in JPEG. If you've already saved, oh my God, I've saved all these pictures in JPEG, well, it's fine. But if you work on them, you have to resave them save them as a TIFF. Never open a JPEG, work on it, resave it, close it, okay? Especially if it's your original. Yes, sir, in the back. What about using the Photoshop file format, which is known as PSD, as opposed to TIFF or JPEG? That's fine. That's fine.